Riffs like that are why Keith Richards is the greatest riff writer in all of rock and roll. And around that time, those Exile on Main Street sessions at his house in France, long backstory to that, and we're going to get into that. That's where we started seeing these Blackguard Telecasters for the first time. His first one was a special gift from another famous musician. We'll talk about that. And we're going to talk about open G tuning, how to get your head around it, how to make it easier, some hacks for open G, and we're also going to talk about the golden period of the Stones from 69 to 73, 74, Beggar's Banquet, through Exile on Main Street, into Goat's Head Soup, and It's Only Rock and Roll. By the fall of 1970, the Rolling Stones were in massive tax debt. Something like 90 cents on the dollar was the tax rate for individuals over a certain income, and the Stones decided to get the hell out of Dodge. They went to the French Riviera. Several members rented houses there, including Keith Richards, and the band settled in Keith's basement at Nelcote to record Exile on Main Street. His main guitar at this time became his Blackguard Telecaster, a gift from Eric Clapton. Graham Parsons was also there, and he had been working in open G tuning, which you can hear all over the record, including Rocks Off, the opening track, Tumbling Dice, and Happy, among others. Lately, I've decided to prioritize more time for content creation. Music is extremely important to me, and as I've got momentum going with my YouTube channel, informing people about music has become more and more important to me. Things like classic guitar tones, how to get your room sounds to translate to a recording, and other recording techniques, anything to make music easier. I think it's very important that we share that information. So I'm going to keep these videos coming out more regularly. Lately I've doubled my subscriber count. I've had a few videos do good, and I want to keep that momentum going. If you help me by liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment, it'll really keep the ball rolling on this channel, and I'm very interested to hear how you record some of your favorite Stones sounds, favorite eras of the Stones music, and gear that you might have that resembles what your favorite musicians played. It was summer 1971 when the Stones recorded Exile on Main Street in the basement at Nelcote. The Rolling Stones had their mobile recording truck outside. There was no ventilation in the basement. Keith compared the basement at Nelcote to hell. There's a song on the record called Ventilator Blues. It was a very party atmosphere, beautiful French Riviera, girls, sex, drugs, everything you could think of a 20-something rock and roller would be into. It's all encapsulated in these tracks. Open G tuning, low to high, is D, G, D, G, B, D. Of course, Keith took off that low E very famously. That made that low A string, if you're barring chords across, it's the root, which kind of leads it to be like a big 5-string power chord. Very effective for the Stones music. And if you think about E standard tuning, that A shape, and you slide it up, 2nd fret is A, 4th fret is B, 5th fret is C. That's the same if you're barring all the strings in open G. Open G is a really great tuning for slide. It's how I always play slide. And it's really good at getting you out of the box and giving you good rock riffs. I really recommend it. For me anyway, it was a great way to get a different feel for my songs. And when I want to switch it up, I'll usually go to open G. Just mess around with your tunings a lot, you know. Anything you can do, play baritone parts. I have a Bigsby pedal. It's great for dropping tuning. I've been playing mostly in E flat lately, actually tuning my guitar to E flat. It just gives it a different feel. Feels very rock and roll. Open G is the same way. And Keith wasn't the only guitar player. This part of the Stones' history, when they had Mick Taylor from 69 to 74, it was great guitar work going on. They were really bouncing off each other very well. And Mick Taylor, there's a lot of slide in this. And Taylor, I believe, was playing in open G. I learned a lot of the slide parts off Exile, and I always played them in open G. So I think that's what Mick Taylor's doing as well. They sound right in open G. And just play around with it. You'll get the hang of it. In open G, there's some cool ways to think about chords. So wherever you're barring a whole fret across, making that open bar chord, if you go 1 fret up on the B string and 2 frets up on the D string, it's going to give you a polychord over the root. And like on the 4th fret, if you play the 5th fret on the B string, that's going to be an E note. And the 6th fret on the D string, that would be a G sharp. It's going to give you a E over B. And you can slide this all the way up the neck. The Stones did this very effectively in a lot of songs. So that's just 2 chord shapes right there. The open, barring all the way across, and that polychord I showed you. Also another suspended chord. Both of these are kind of suspended chords, because on that first chord I showed you, you're making it a 4th over the root. And in this case, you're making it a 2nd. So wherever you're barring on the G string, go up 2 frets, and it's giving you a suspended chord. On the second song I played in this video, Keith does that. It's called Happy, and so that note right there, or that chord right there, is suspended, and then he goes into the other chord I showed you. And both those songs that I played in this, Tumbling Dice and Happy, he's using a capo on the 4th fret. It's really a cool tuning to use a capo in, because you get those great open chords. During these Exile sessions, Keith's main guitar, his number 1, became Macabre, the Blackguard Telecaster gifted from Eric Clapton, and it remains so to this day. And Keith has quite a collection of various early Telecasters, and he still chooses Macabre as his number 1. There were many guitars at the session, some of which got stolen, very famously. His Carina V that he used at the Hyde Park show in '69 was one of those guitars stolen. It's a very valuable and rare guitar, even without the Keith Richards lineage. For amplifiers, starting in '69, they used Ampeg amps, SVTs, and V4s. And smaller amps in the studio as well, like the VT22 and the GU12. During my research for this, I saw this picture of Keith using an early 70s Silverface Twin, much like the one behind me right here. Mine is a 67 drip edge with 1 JBL. By this picture, Keith has 2 JBLs, and I found it very easy for this video to get those Exile tones, so I think he probably used this Twin in the session quite a bit too. In closing, I just want to say that there's something about Exile on Main Street. You can feel the hot, dank basement. You can feel that they felt like outcasts on the run from their homeland. All that comes through on the tracks. You can hear and feel the rock and roll rebellion. In my life, there's certain albums I couldn't imagine going through life without, and Exile is definitely one of them. If you like this video, leave me a comment and tell me so. Like, subscribe, and I'll make more of them on other great records and other great guitar tones. See you next time.